It has been such a joy this past week, getting to work with so many women. We had over 106, 108 ladies that signed up for my free 7-day Rockstar Body Jumpstart Challenge. And we are still, this week, I'm obviously recording this podcast episode, and we're in the middle of this. We're in day 4. And it has just been so fun. I love that so many of these ladies are getting introduced to what it means to be on a structured strength training program and finally understand what it really means and get to experience it and find value in it. It's been a blast. So, all of you ladies that have been a part of this free Jumpstart Challenge, I just want to say thank you so much for joining the challenge, being a part of it, participating in the group, inside of everything that we've been doing. Like, I can't thank you enough. You have brought the energy, the rockstar vibe in here, and it's been so freaking fun. So I just wanted to shout out to all of you ladies that crushed your workouts and in there. And just had so much fun together. It was really great. And also, I just want to say congratulations to all of you new rock star ladies that joined Rock That Fitness this past week during the Jumpstart Challenge. So I'm super pumped that I'm going to get to watch you continue your journey. And now, guess what? That was early registration. That was like special stuff happening on the back end. If you weren't on the priority list, then you missed out. If you weren't a part of the Jumpstart Challenge, you missed out. But you haven't completely missed out because this episode is sponsored by Rock That Fitness, which we're going to be having an open registration opportunity starting tomorrow, April the 8th. Yes, I recorded this last week. Yes, this is dropping on Monday, April 7th. But officially, open registration to the public starts April 8th. So get ready, or just check out the show notes, because if you're listening to this, you probably have the scoop. You're on the lowdown here, on the DL here, because being that you're listening here, you can also probably join us early if this is Monday still. Yeah. Try it. You never know. Don't miss out. So, okay, special deal for you if you're listening to this podcast episode today, because today is the last day to get in on the deal, and you'll have to reach out to me if you want the special deal. But come on in here early. Start today. Come on in. Check out the show notes. Now, what else is happening? What is happening? I can't even begin to tell you the excitement that is stirred up in me today for this podcast episode. We had a very special shining star today on today's show. Tara Brooking is one of our Rock That Fitness members that is just so generous and kind to come on the show today and share her story. You're going to be amazed. She joined Rock That Fitness back in October 2023. She has quite an incredible story, a lot of things that she has overcome, but I'm telling you, she is rocking her fitness like a true rock star fit woman. I'm just truly impressed with her. She's really such an inspiration, and just a beautiful example that, no matter where you are on your journey, no matter what obstacles you're facing, you can make progress and get real results with your physique, your health, everything, fitness, your mindset. It's just a matter of making the decision to do it. You got to make a commitment. Remember what I said last week on last week's episode? Commitment. Make the commitment and then have the courage to follow through, because then the capability and the confidence will happen after that, right? And everything that you want to accomplish, girl, is on the other side of the hard. And we talked about that in this episode, that you can do the hard thing. You just got to make yourself do it. All right, girl, I had so much fun with this episode, hanging out with Tara on this. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. Yay, Tara. Welcome to the show, girl. I am so pumped to have you here. I think I had a vision of you being here one day, and here you are. I'm not even kidding.
This is exciting. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I have a lot of things on my mind. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited to have you share your story, your transformation story, your journey, your fitness journey, all that you have experienced. And I just have so many questions. I hope that I can cover everything. But, like I told you when we got started, this is just a laid back conversation, just wanting to get to know you and share your story with our listeners. And of course, our rock stars too, because our family listens to the podcast. So why don't we, if you don't mind, I just want to allow you to tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you live, family situation, job situation, your age, that kind of thing. Do you mind sharing?
Oh, that's fine. I'm Tara, obviously. I just turned 45 back in November. I'm married to my husband, Corey. We've been married almost 24 years. We
Wow.
have three adult children. They're very close together in age, all girls, all in college or starting college soon. Um, we currently live in Omaha, Nebraska. We are a retired military family. Moved here about 8 years ago, and have lived coast to coast and overseas. So this was kind of our final resting place, at least for the time being. Um, I am in school nutrition. So for layman's terms, I started out as a lunch lady, very
The
proud lunch
lunch lady.
lady. Um,
Love it.
I have since moved up to I am the purchasing manager, so I buy everything, all the food and all the supplies for all of our schools throughout the
Wow.
district. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's a lot. You're so humble. You're so humble. Like you are doing a lot. You're juggling a lot, but you're just so humble, and you got it together is how it feels, how it looks.
Oh, there's a hot mess in here somewhere.
Well, I'm really excited to have you share more about the journey that you have been on. You've come you've come a long way, and people think that a lot of women just want to think that it's supposed to happen fast. I see this all the time, especially in comments and things that people post and say it's happening so slow. And it's funny because it's like, well, whoever said it's supposed to be fast? The truth is it's not, and you're handling it like a champ. And I know that you would sit here and say, well, I'm not there yet. I'm not at where I want to be yet. However, you've come so far. And this is one of the biggest reasons I wanted to highlight you, is because you're on this journey and you have proven to be so committed, and you're believing in the process, you're trusting the process and handling it just so well. And you're not where you want to be or where you're going to be at some point. And so I think this is a great time to talk about where you've been so far. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and plus, for all of the women out there that are high achieving women, working full time, overtime, juggling the family, juggling all of our responsibilities, and we're busy. Yet you are doing this in spite of all of that. So you know what? It's like you're shattering the stereotype. We can't do it because we're too busy. Um, Before coming into Rock That Fitness, can you give us a little bit? Tell us the history of Tara and your having to do with your fitness journey, your fat loss journey. Tell us a little bit about how that was in the past.
Sure. Like many in RTF, I was a frequent flyer to Weight Watchers, WW. Um, I'm pretty sure I joined my first meeting before I had, before I was even pregnant with my third child. Um, and many, many times over, even tried it while we were overseas. Um, Joined it for the last time here when we moved here to Omaha. Did lose a lot of weight, became lifetime, and then COVID hit.
When you say a lot of weight, give us some numbers here.
I lost about 80 pounds.
Wow. Okay.
I lost about 80 pounds. Like I said, made lifetime. COVID hit and everything shut down. And that's basically when the weight started coming back on. Um, and over the course of 3-ish years, 3.5 years, I had gained all of that back and then some. So
Wow.
I had found you obviously through WW and the what was it, the chat room, the connect that I
Connect,
had.
yeah, the
Yeah.
connect, yeah,
And
social.
I had been on and off just kind of following you ever since then, and decided to give Rock That Fitness a try back in, I think, October of 23
Yeah,
is when I signed up. Um, I started a little differently than most do. I could only do the nutrition part. I have had a terrible back since I was 19, and I was actually on the docket to have a lumbar fusion surgery, which I did end up having in January of 24. So I started RTF in October to get a good, at least a starts of a good nutritional foundation,
yeah,
because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do anything. That whole, no bend, lift, twist, you breathe wrong,
yes,
Um,
yes,
so had my surgery in January and just continued the best I could with the nutrition portion. And as I started getting more releases from my neurosurgeon, I was able to do a little bit more. Um, Took my first progress pictures in April. And again, as more allowances were given, I was able to actually get into the gym. Um, Abby was able to help me do lots of modifications for what I could do. Um, and just every time I'd go to this neurosurgeon, he'd give me a little bit more and a little bit more. And I would do a little bit more with, keeping in mind how I felt with my back and, you know, being very careful not to bend in a certain way or lift in a certain way. Um, if I had an exercise that was in my routine, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. We
yeah,
found something that would work the same muscle areas.
yep.
Um, trying to get my daily steps, um, which is not easy when you sit behind a computer all day.
Yes,
um,
yes. That's
but
such a common yes, that's such a common complaint.
yeah,
So I'm
so
curious where you started in 2023. Well, first you found me on WW, but I was gone after 2019 because I left and I was like, I'm gonna start something
mhm,
here. And so then did you follow me on social media after
yeah,
2019?
I did.
Okay. So it
Yeah.
took a few years and then you decided to join Rock That Fitness in
Hmm.
2023, October
Yep.
2023.
Yep.
And
That's
let's go back to that time. What inspired you to join Rock That Fitness at that time?
um, I guess kind of the old cliche saying, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. You
Um,
really were, it sounds like.
I really was. I had blood work. I had been diagnosed pre-diabetic, which I did not want that to progress any farther. Um,
And
and
so can you give us some stats on where you were at that time in terms of like how tall are you? You know, what do you mind sharing? Like what was your weight at that time?
yeah, that's fine. So I am 5'6". Um, that used to be 5'8", but good old back. I have shrunk. So I am 5'6" now.
Okay.
I did start at about 250 pounds. Um,
Okay.
and
And did you take progress pictures at in 2023 when you
I did
joined?
not.
Okay.
I did not. It
Yeah.
took it took some convincing, and I finally took my first set of progress pictures in April.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but it sounds like you did start to put together what you needed to do in your nutrition and follow the
Mhm.
nutrition guidelines. Okay. And then what? So, let's see here. You came in October 2023 and then what was the next thing that you did in Rock That Fitness?
Um, yeah, literally, like I just said, I was, started trying to follow the plan. Um, be very honest, I was not very consistent.
Okay. Fair
I
enough.
probably I got more consistent after I took the progress pictures. Um, you know, had my little pity parties with after the surgery and just being bummed out that I couldn't do much. But as the releases came and a couple little motivational conversations, um, I finally I got my final release. or not my final release, but basically told you can do anything except skydiving and mechanical bull riding. Um, that's legitimately what he said.
Wow. Well, that's a
Um,
lot. That's a lot of
but
freedom.
when I got that, that's when I was like, okay. And I think it took about a month later that I actually fully committed, and I'm pretty sure haven't missed a workout, haven't um, not that I've gotten a gold star every day for any things, but I definitely haven't missed a workout since, and that was,
Yeah.
I want to say, the very end of September was when I finally was 100% consistent.
Okay. So where were you at when you did your first progress pictures in terms of your weight? Where were you then?
I had lost about 6.5 pounds just in
Okay.
with just nutrition at
Mhm.
that point.
That was in
And
April, right?
right, yeah. So between October and April, with just doing the nutrition, I was about 6.5, and not being incredibly consistent.
Okay.
I was about 6 pounds, 6.5 pounds.
Okay. So that was a period of time on your journey where sounds like you were just kind of soul searching, kind of navigating life. It was a difficult time because of the surgery and all the
Hmm.
recovery and everything that you were dealing with. So since then, you also joined, I guess at some point you came in and you were in here and you did the Kickstart Challenge, the
Right.
6 week program that we get started on when we do step by step for 6 weeks. Right. How
Hmm.
was that for you? Was that part of you getting on board and getting serious about things? When did you do that? Do you remember?
It was after I started being very consistent. But it was actually really good because there was a lot of the mindfulness stuff is kind of that's kind of a thing for me. I have a hard time, being gentle with myself sometimes in that respect.
Mhm.
So having the mindfulness conversations in the different, in the Kickstart group calls that we had a couple of them that were really, 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 really in depth and good.
Yeah, we get into the feelings and the emotions and the guilt and the shame and the
Hmm.
reasons that what's driving us, all that kind of stuff. What's driving us to do the things and what's driving us to not do the things.
Hmm.
That's what I love about our program for the 6 weeks. And just for our listeners, just so they know, because right now I think this episode drops on the Monday, yeah. We're gonna be doing open registration on April 8th. So
Okay.
when this drops, it's gonna be tomorrow. So today's Monday when it drops. We're recording this the week before. It's always so weird. And then we're opening up registration to the public on April 8th. And the reason I'm saying this is because for our listeners that don't know, what we did before is we would do this 6 week program out there outside of Rock That Fitness and then say, you want to come on in, or not, or whatever. But the more I have been doing this, the more I see that the most successful members are the ones typically that have gone through that 6 week foundation of this group program that we do called Kickstart. So now that's what we're doing, the initial Kickstart for 6 weeks and then ongoing monthly recurring with membership. And that's going to be, look in the show notes. A little side note here, get in the show notes and go check that out. So yeah, so let me ask you this. It sounds to me, and I could be just imagining that things are really different for you this time, even though you haven't quite yet reached your goal, your outcome, wherever that is. What is different this time for you, being a part of Rock That Fitness and everything that we do here compared to all the things you have done in the past?
Um, well, I guess, most of the stuff I've done in the past has been points, and, all the things that go with that. And kind of like you, I always thought it was a little weird that there were 0 point foods. And, because, 0 points was never 0 calories. And so that always never made sense to me. But I always felt I had to keep going back to Weight Watchers, getting back on, that type of thing. And now I just eat. I don't, obviously, I track it, but it's in my Fitness Pal, and I'm not doing anything different or special. We're having family dinner. This is what we're doing. You know, my husband and I go out to eat. I look beforehand. So it's just I'm doing it more as like what I would normally do every day. It's nothing special. I can eat
Yeah.
what my family eats, you know, um, and when they eat something that might be a little bit more than I'm interested in having, that's when I have my seafood because my family is not a big seafood fan. So that's when I can have
Yeah.
my seafood and, you know,
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, I know you've done the points thing, but
yeah.
what else do you think is making a difference for you?
Oh, definitely the workouts. Definitely the
Yeah.
workouts.
You're
I
crushing it, by the way. I saw your bench press
yeah,
PR.
yeah,
What
I was
was
happy
it
about
again?
that.
You benched 100 pounds
I did. I
for
did.
8 reps?
2 sets of 8, and then the
Girl,
last one I was able to get to 6.
girl, you are
So yeah,
freaking
I
strong.
was I'm hoping next week I can have the spotter there. I had to do it without a spotter this time.
Yeah. I'm
I'm hoping
impressed.
I'm hoping I can find somebody that's willing to spot me. I think I can get those last 2.
I'm really impressed with that. Wow, amazing. And that's just consistency. Like you have been showing up and showing up. Um, what I feel like I skipped over was where you're at now. Okay. When it was April and you took your progress pictures, you just kept on going, doing the things, showing up consistently.
Mhm.
And so since then, how much total, let's just say, since coming into Rock That Fitness, how many pounds have you lost? And we don't focus on weight, but this is
Mhm.
significant over a period of time. So share with us what's different with your weight, with your measurements, your clothes. Tell us what results you've had so far.
I have, as of right now, lost just over 56 pounds. Um,
Amazing.
I am down, well, basically from a 3X to I can fit into some larges. Extra large is a little bit more comfortable, but I can fit in the larges. Um, I'm down maybe 3 pant sizes. I just got another smaller pair of jeans that they zip. They're almost there. So that's
Yeah,
exciting.
it is. That's
Um,
great.
yeah.
Yeah, and your progress pictures, I mean, phenomenal. Can definitely see the big
Those
difference.
those I think are definitely the game changer because there's definitely those, I see myself in the mirror, in a camera. Um, I think I told you, you walk into the grocery store and they have the camera that follows you in, and boy, that
Yeah.
that is not a
Yeah.
forgiving camera.
Y
Uh,
You were not happy about
no, I was
that.
not happy about that one, but it's nice to see those progress pictures, like the legitimate progress pictures, and to see how far I actually have come and not let the grocery store camera be the judge.
Yeah, that was something. That was something. So what do you think has been some of your biggest let's talk about mindset a little bit. What do you think were your biggest struggles when it came to being consistent with the process? What do
Um,
you think was your hang up and how have you overcome that?
well, the biggest one definitely was I was trying to work out after work. Um, because normally I would have to be at work by 6 a.m. So the gym I belong to opens at 5. That's, not enough time. So I was trying to do it after work and I was thoroughly exhausted physically and mentally after work. And it was a very big struggle to get there. I'd still have my bag and everything in the car and I would be like, absolutely not. We're going home. So I did have to make the decision, and I was able to talk to my director. And 3 days a week, come in later.
Oh,
I
good.
come in later, and I work later. And
Yeah.
so I was able to, I go at 5, and so it allows me the time to work out and get home and get ready. And
Wow, look at
so,
you advocating for yourself like that. That's
oh yeah,
awesome. Good
yeah.
for you.
Luckily, I have a very supportive director who was very on board with that. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so I was able to do that. So that's a no can't think of the word I want to say, but that is a non-negotiable. There we go.
Non-negotiable. Yeah.
Non-negotiable.
I was right there with you. I know the word cheese wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I that was a big one. And once I started doing that, um, that was a big game changer. And then I know the calorie cycling that I've started doing, that's been very helpful because um, I know I can, on my higher calorie days, that's when my husband and I go out to eat.
Yeah. So you're
Um,
not feeling like you're deprived, you're overly
exactly.
restricted. You still get to enjoy going out and having things, having extra calories that day. It's a budget, basically.
Right.
It's like we budget our money and you're spending a little bit more money on one day than another, but you're budgeting it over time. So that's awesome. Um, and so I'm curious, did you do strength training or workouts before RTF or?
Um, kind of, yeah. I've done body pump.
Yeah.
When I was on my weight loss journey before, I had done body pump quite a bit. Um, we have a course or a class called Dance Fit, so it's not quite Zumba, but similar. And so I would do that. But and I was an athlete all through high school, growing up, and
Okay.
everything. So lifting and that was not a foreign concept to me. But as my back kind of deteriorated, from my late teens on, the lifting got less and less, and it definitely was pretty much non-existent after my first back surgery.
Yeah.
Um, and then just a little bit through the body pump and everything after.
Yeah. But it sounds to me like you weren't a stranger to
Oh no.
exercise and being active, especially if you were an athlete in high school. So let's talk a little bit about the nutrition part of things, since you did say calorie cycling. Um, of course, in our guidelines, when the women start out in Rock That Fitness, we're basically doing daily calorie targets. We're not doing calorie cycling. That's kind of
Okay.
like a little bit more advanced. So let's talk about before you started doing that. Like what were some of the obstacles, challenges you had with tracking your food and staying consistent with tracking it all and that kind of thing? Because you
Um,
said you weren't very consistent before. So what caused the consistency with your nutrition? How did you kick that in?
um, I just, I guess I just had to stay out of my own way. And I, finally had to make the decision that if I wanted something to change, I had to do it. That's, you know, I guess nothing really special happened. I know, a couple different conversations, during the different group chats we had, and I know, you and I had some conversations, but I think it was just that, and it was finally like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, you just finally decided. It's just a
Right.
decision. Like once you make the decision, the how happens. You
Hmm.
figure it out, right? It's
Yeah.
like no matter what it is. I love that. So cool. Um, Let me see here. What else were we going to talk about? I think I wanted to ask you about, I'm curious. This is going to be kind of more like a you as a person and how you have changed and how so far you said you've already shed over 50 pounds, right?
Right.
In this past however many months it has been, this past year or whatever. How has that changed you? Have you seen a change in you? Because it's not just the weight. There's something that happens, I believe, psychologically, because you're going to the gym, showing up 3 days a week, you're lifting heavy weights, you're seeing your body change. You have lost all of these clothes sizes. I mean, tell me more about how that has changed you. Do you tell me what feels different for you? What's new for you?
Um, well, definitely, like you said, the clothes different. So it's like I can start getting, clothes that are a little bit more exciting. Instead of just the squares that most plus size sections sell.
Exciting clothes? Like,
Yeah.
you mean like the sexy clothes?
No, just anything that's
You know
not
I'm gonna get there.
anything that's not a square potato sack.
I'm kidding, but
Yeah.
I like to talk about that because I think, you know.
Yeah,
But how do you feel about yourself? Like, how has everything changed for you on the inside
I think
about yourself?
I definitely think I have more confidence. I think I'm able to speak up a little bit more for myself, my needs, let my opinions be known a little bit more. I think before I kind of just I wouldn't. I would just kind of, okay, yep, we're gonna do that. Uh-huh. And now I in my brain I feel I have a little bit more ability to be present in a lot of decisions maybe that I just kind of went along with before.
Mm. And how's that with everybody else around you? Your family, your coworkers, are they noticing a difference in you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I actually I hear it usually at least a couple times a week. And
What are they saying?
um well, first they're like, "Oh, you know, and name the different programs.
Yeah.
Are you doing Weight Watchers? Are you doing this? Are you fasting?" I'm like, "No." I was like, "No, I'm doing this. I lift and I eat, and I typically bring my lunch to work, so they usually see me what I'm bringing, and um, yeah, so no, I usually get a couple comments every few days, which
Yeah.
is nice. It's
But are they noticing a
that,
difference in you?
what's that?
I'm sorry, it's like we had a little signal breakup
Yeah.
there. Are they noticing a difference in you, not just physically, but you?
I mean, I think so. I don't think anybody specifically said
Yeah.
that, but I think it's noticeable.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. That's cool. I'm trying to pull out as much information as I can. I'm like, tell me some more, Tara. I want to know the nitty gritty. I want to know like what kind of things on the day to day is different for you. I mean, losing 50 pounds is a pretty big deal. What kind of things day to day do you notice like, wow, this is different? What I don't want to say it. I'm thinking it. I want you to tell me.
Um, I don't hurt. I don't hurt, so that's definitely helpful. And um, what's different? I think I carry myself different now. Um, yeah, it's
Showing up,
what's
you're
that?
just showing up like with more confidence and
Yeah, and I am able to. I think I'm able to be more present in activities. And when I do stuff with my girls, I'm not okay. We gotta wait. I'm not. I got to catch my breath. I don't have to do that as much anymore. I gotta stretch out my back, because of whatever. I don't necessarily have to do that as much anymore. I'm able to keep up a little bit better.
yeah, and you say your girls. So what is your family thinking? What do they say? Because I know sometimes people will be like, "Oh, it's just another diet. Just going to go the same. It's just going to be,
Um,
Is it different this time?"
it's different. They still like, well, what can you eat? I'm like, I can eat whatever. I was like, what are we
Right.
having? Come on. It's so yeah, no, but they're very supportive of it. Whenever my youngest comes home from college, she's usually surprised, because just appearances have changed. And I've my older two still live at home, so they see me a little bit more regularly. But
Right.
um but yeah, no, they've been all very, very supportive and very um excited
Yeah.
whenever I get a new milestone or anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you as one of your coaches, what I have observed, which it's so wonderful. I remember in the very beginning when you first came in, you seemed to be rather shy, and I don't know, you may be shy, you may be introverted, I don't know, but you seemed pretty quiet in the very beginning. And not that you're like outgoing and loud or anything now, but I did see a shift. I've seen a shift over the time period that you've been in here inside of Rock That Fitness, and I know you're inspiring a lot of the other Rockstar ladies in here, but just how you have been so amazing to share your journey in here. It honestly brings me back memories to me sharing my journey
Mhm.
when I was doing that on social media and sharing how I was changing over time. So it's just so refreshing. I feel just a connection to you in that way. Like, I love that you do that. You're freely and generously sharing your journey with your progress pictures in here, with commenting, sharing what's going on in your life and your fitness journey along the way here in Rock That Fitness. Um, and being so supportive and encouraging to others. And even now that we're doing our Jumpstart challenge and you come in there and you're encouraging in there. And so I just feel like I have just seen you grow. You have changed physically, yes, but I have been observing you changing as who you are, just stepping into this identity of, the new, improved, better, higher version of Tara. So just wanted to say that because I really think so much of you're just doing amazing, and I'm really proud of you. So, with that said, about Rock That Fitness, since I'm going there, I would love for you to share your experience with how it is being in here. I mean, for listeners who don't know, if you just started listening, just let y'all know that in Rock That Fitness, what we do is strength training. We do 6 week programming. Every 6 weeks, we get a new program. You can choose dumbbell and bands, or you can do full gym access, and you can do either one of those, either at home or the gym. And we have a community that's private on Facebook. We're in there, very active group inside of there. And we have a library of lessons, courses that teach on nutrition, fat loss, mindset, these kind of things. And we do live group coaching calls, and we have live Q&As. So we're very active and connected in here. So with that said, just wanted to give a little summary. Share with us, Tara, your experience of being a part of this community, how it's impacted you, what you love about it.
I love the camaraderie, the support. Um, somebody comes in and they have an amazing day or the amazing session at the gym, or whatever. There's so much cheering. Somebody comes in and they've had not an amazing day. Um, there's that moral support and emotional support there. Um, I know for me personally, um, I had my dad passed away on Thanksgiving, and I came in, and there was just the support, just from everybody,
I remember that. Yeah.
and and that was a big deal because being so far away from where my parents live. um,
Mm-hmm.
and we knew he was not well, so it was not unexpected. But you know not being able to get home to see my mom for I didn't get to see her get to her until just after Christmas. So it was almost a month before I was actually able
Mm-hmm.
to get home.
Wow.
And so just
Yeah.
having that extra support, from women who most of them I've never met in person. That was really good. But yeah, just the totally the camaraderie, the support, the you know, everybody's everybody's got something to bring to the table, some piece of knowledge that, it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. And so that I think that's just been the huge game changer, is just having that support. And then obviously having the structure of the workouts, that's been very helpful because, I don't feel like I'm flailing around like, oh, what to do, what to do. It's like, nope, I have it right here.
Yeah.
So
Just to follow the
yeah.
steps.
Oh yeah, just A, B, C, and just let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what would you say? I mean, we're opening up registration right now to the public. What would you say to the woman that is considering joining Rock That Fitness? What would you say to her if she's on the fence? Because I know there are women that are intimidated. I mean, especially if they're seeing videos of me and I'm doing barbell stuff. Like, I know we have women come in and start from the beginning, but
Hmm.
whoever that woman is, because there's a lot of beliefs that, well, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to do that. I'm going to have to turn my whole life around to do that. Or it's not meant for me because I have limitations or whatever. Well, like, what would you say? What would you say to her?
It anybody can do it. There's a modification for everything, you know, but just do it. Just you know, do it scared. Do
Yes,
it
do
scared.
it scared. You
And
did it scared, didn't you?
that is the understatement of the world.
Really? You were
Oh,
really scared?
oh yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at you, and
that's
you're still doing it scared. You're here on the podcast.
yep, yep. You know,
Yeah.
cameras are not usually my friend, so it's
Well, you look
this is
great on the
big for me, I
camera.
think.
It's your friend. Yes, it's wonderful. Yeah, doing it scared. It's just the limiting beliefs that some, we don't even realize we have them. But yeah, when you discover that, if you can just get past that, just do it scared, like you said. Whatever it is, there's some kind of a fear that's holding somebody back. Even the fear of failure, right?
Right.
Like, well, I don't want to start this because what if I don't? What if it doesn't work?
That's
Well,
that's that's
you
probably that was probably me. That was probably me.
and so how do you overcome that?
Um, I don't know. I'm honestly I'm not really sure because still have those feelings every now and again. Um, you know
Yeah.
what I think you and I have had the conversation about the wardrobe. I have
Yeah.
the wardrobe of all sizes.
Yes, I asked you, when are you gonna get rid of the sizes you don't fit in anymore, Tara?
Yep, and it'll
And
happen.
then
It'll
you said,
happen. Um,
"Yeah,
not sure when,
yeah,
but it'll happen.
it will. It will. Yes, it will."
So,
But
I
I love that you're not going to the store and buying a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you're being very strategic about this. You're like, "I'm not gonna be in this size very long, so I don't wanna spend a lot of money right now at this size." So and I get that because when I was going through my size phases, I was buying, like, secondhand stuff or buying cheaper clothes because I knew I wasn't gonna be, there very long. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So we just want to encourage our listeners, if you are thinking about joining Rock That Fitness, just get in here. And all the information is in the show notes. And you'll get to meet Tara and all the other wonderful rock star ladies inside of Rock That Fitness. And Tara, I just can't thank you enough. Thanks for your time today. Thanks for being willing to come here and be on
yeah,
the show today.
yeah,
Is there
thanks for
any
having me.
last minute thoughts or anything at all that you want to? I don't want to just cut you off. Anything else you want to say?
Um, well, one of the things that you and Abby both have told me, you can do the hard things,
Yep.
and that has been kind of the mantra to I've had to follow. I keep telling myself, I can do the hard things, and that has been I think the game changer.
Yeah, I love that. I think we should say that more. I got away from saying that because I don't even know why I got away from saying that, but it's true. You got to do the uncomfortable. It's hard. But if you want the result, it's on the other side of that discomfort. It's on the
Hmm.
other side of the hard. And just keep showing up. Not being you don't have to be perfect. And that's exactly what you've been doing. So keep on doing it, girl. Keep on inspiring us. Keep doing what you're doing. And again, just thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. All right.
Thanks.
I'll see you and yeah, rock on.